Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Twist. My name is Chanazi, and here we twist the little things my mom showed me in her beautiful, beautiful traditional kitchen. Here at Chanazi, we work as a family, we cook together and eat together. So just pull your chairs and let's do this as a family. Today, we are going to be cooking some fufu and njama, and we would be using some onions and some scotch bonnet pepper. Then we have our njama or huckleberry, or you can call it just vegetables. It's just as simple as that. And then here we've got our corn flour. We're going to be using corn flour. Corn flour is going to serve for our fufu. Then here I'm using beef with bone, and we have some very fresh tomatoes, and of course our palm oil, palm oil, palm oil. Yes. So let's get started. We're just going to go ahead and slice our tomatoes. I'm just doing it traditionally. I'm going to be taking you step by step, and this is going to be the way my grandma cooks it, right? This is my grandma's method, so I'm just going to do everything traditionally, all right? So just go ahead and slice your tomatoes nicely. You can use your chopping board, but I'm fine using my African fingers, right? So just slice them beautifully and set them aside. Okay, so once we are done with that, we're going to go ahead and slice our onions. I'm just slicing my onions on my tomatoes because I'll be using all at the same time. I'm just doing it traditionally, the traditional way. We're not going to be frying anything. Right, so just slice your onions and, set that aside as well. Now, in a clean pot, we're going to quickly transfer our meat, then season it with some salt, add in your tomatoes and onions straight away and allow it to cook. Let it cook in its own juice, the tomatoes and meat juice together. So once it cooks, we're just going to double check. You can see our meat and tomatoes are cooking nicely. They're getting combined beautifully. Just give it a good stir and allow it to continue cooking. So while it's cooking, we're going to go ahead and sieve our fufu corn or our corn flour. Now we need to sieve it and make sure that the chaff is set aside. We're going to set our chaff aside and then wash it. Now, the quantity of chaff you get depends on how fine your strainer is or your sieve is, and if you peeled your corn before grinding. So I did peel my corn before grinding, so that's why the quantity of chaff I have is minimal, and my sieve is not too fine, right? So yeah, now we are done with that, and we're going to go ahead and wash our kinde. We call this kinde. That's just a chaff. We call it kinde. So just make sure you wash it nicely and take off all the dirt that you find in there, so you can only have the beautiful and clean grains. All right. The grains are not too fine, but yeah. So what we usually take away is the chaff that floats, the floating ones, those that are floating, we take them away. We need to get rid of that. So once you're done, you need to do that action repeatedly. You need to do it repeatedly until you see that your chaff is clean. You've got those clean grains. Then you are good to go. So you can see what I'm accumulating on my strainer or my sieve. You can all see it, and you can see how clean my chaff is becoming. So once you have a perfect, clean, perfectly washed kende or chaff, then use part of your flour, your corn flour, add it to your chaff, mix it well. It serves as a thickener. Just mix it well and add your water. Now we're going to use the same water that we use in washing our kende. So just add it there, give it a good mix, ensuring that you do not have lumps, because we do not want to have lumps in our fufu. Our fufu needs to be smooth. I mean, smooth. Right. So once that is done, we're just going to set that aside. Just clean up a little bit because we did make a mess, and then set it aside. All right. So now we're going to go back onto our tomatoes and meat. Just double check. You can see it's cooking beautifully. The mixture of the meat, onions, and tomatoes are all amazing, and it's already giving that beautiful aroma in the kitchen, just that natural aroma. So we're going to go in with our pepper, then add in our palm oil. Now, no frying is taking place, no extra seasoning, just adding your palm oil, your pepper and allow it to continue cooking. Now, at this stage, I'm just flipping my pots. I'm just changing the burners because I need to cook my fufu on a higher flame, all right? And I need to cook my stew on a lower flame. So I just had to swap them. And then your water needs to be boiling, all right? So just reduce the quantity of water and then add in your mix, your chaff. Now, the moment you pour in your mix in the pot, just start stirring. You need to stir gently and continuously with some love, all right, until it thickens and starts boiling. If you stop stirring at the beginning, then you're going to end up having lumps because it's going to be thick at the bottom, and then you won't be able to mix it with um, the water that is at the top. All right, so now you can see that kende is becoming thick. You can actually see it's becoming thick. It's going to get thicker, and once it starts bubbling, then you can add in a little bit of water and cover it so it continues cooking. Right, now that's because I want to have a perfectly cooked fufu corn. Um, Fufu corn actually is cooked differently depending on the regions. Some people like to have that raw taste, but I come from the region where we do cook it perfectly, right? So I'm going to cover it and allow it to cook, right? Nobody should come for me for my lid, for the lid of my pot, okay? I'm just being natural here. I'm just being real. I'm not faking anything. So yes, that's my pot. I'm just using that lid. I've got those African fingers that can stand the heat and everything. All right. So now let's go back and double check our meat or our stew. Palm oil stew is cooking beautifully. The aroma is everywhere in the kitchen. All right. Now back to our fufu corn. You can see our kinde has thickened again and it's cooking so nicely. Just give it a good stir. Once you stir that, then you're going to go ahead and add in your flour. Now, you can add in your flour immediately or you can add in some water before adding your flour. That depends on how thick or how hard you want your fufu to be. It depends on the consistency of your fufu. So I'm going to add some water because I love to have my fufu medium hard, right? We have those who love it like really light, others love it very hard, and I love it medium. I grew eating it medium hard. That's how my mom used to cook it, all right? So now, yeah, I just added a bit of water, give it a good stir, then we're gonna go in with our corn flour. So as I was saying, people of the West region love to have their fufu very soft. I mean, almost watery, while those of the Northwest region love to have their fufu very hard. We call it strong fufu. The fufu is always very hard, right? So now we're going to go ahead and add in our corn flour. Once you add in your corn flour, just go ahead and mix it very fast. Just give it a quick mix, Just do that very fast, very fast, so you do not have lumps. Trust me, nobody will want to eat your fufu if it's got lumps in it, right? So now once you mix it well and you see that everything is nice and smooth, you can go ahead and add in some water depending on the texture of your fufu, depending on the consistency that you want. So since I want my fufu to be medium hard, I'm going to add in some water and cover it to cook. Now others actually have their fufu this hard, but I don't. So I'm going to add in some water, then cover my pot. I just, cover my pot and allow it to cook again because I want to have a properly, nicely cooked fufu. So just clean the sides of your pot and then cover it and let it cook. So our fufu has been cooking for a while now, and it's time to double check. You can see, so now we're just going to use our pestle and mingle our fufu. Do that while bringing it close to the wall of your pot. It helps you crush any lump that might find itself in your fufu. My mom used to call those lumps army. Yeah, you need to crush all those armies that find themselves in your fufu. Yes. So now you can see that my fufu is still a little bit hard or a bit strong. I do not want to have very strong fufu because once your fufu gets cold, it becomes very hard. Now I still went ahead to add in some water, mixed it a little bit and allow it to cook again. Now I'm going to tell you something beautiful. Do not add cold water to your fufu. Do not add cold water to your fufu. I repeat, do not add cold water to your fufu. If you add cold water to your fufu, once your fufu gets cold or you've got leftovers, you won't be able to eat it. I mean, even when it's still hot, somebody who knows what fufu is can tell that your fufu was poorly cooked because the texture that you have on your fingers is completely different. It, I don't know how I can explain it, but my advice to you is not to add cold water to your fufu. Always use hot boiling water. That's why we always boil a large amount of water, set it aside, and we begin to use gradually. All right. So we're going to cover our pot and let it continue cooking. While at that, let's go on to our meat and double check. We can see that our meat and stew, palm oil stew, is cooking beautifully. Just taste and adjust your seasoning if need be. Then I just added in a little bit of salt because I needed some more salt. Just stir and let it cook on medium to low heat. I mean, low heat. Let it just keep simmering. And then at this stage, our palm oil stew is ready. Yes. So we are going to quickly flip our pot. We're going to transfer our fufu corn on a smaller burner. And then here we're going to cook our njama. So in a clean pot, we're just going to transfer our njama in there and add in a little bit of water. Now, why do we add a bit of water? Usually, when you steam your njama produces its own juice, and we usually use that juice to cook the njama traditionally, like grandma style. But since I did pristine my njama, I had to squeeze the water out or the juice out and freeze the njama. I did squeeze just a little bit, so that's why I'm adding a bit of water. Okay, so we just went ahead to slice our onions over our njama, adding a bit of salt, seasoned it with some salt, dropped in our scotch bonnet pepper, gave it a good mix, and then went ahead to add in a little bit of palm oil. Now we're going to be adding about a tablespoon of palm oil. We are not adding too much because we have enough oil in our palm oil stew. Right. So now, once we add in our palm oil, just give it a good mix. Stir it with some love. Like I always say, always add a pinch of love to your cooking. Yes, it's very important. Always add a pinch of love to your cooking. So we added our salt, pepper, onions, palm oil, and some love. Give it a good stir. Now we're going back on our palm oil stew that has been simmering for about 5 minutes, and you can see that our stew is perfectly made. The aroma is everywhere in the kitchen. Now we're just going to turn off the heat. Back to anjama, you can see also that anjama is nicely cooked. Just taste and adjust your seasoning if need be. You can see that there's a bit of water in there and just a little bit of oil. I mean, you can't see the oil. So this is how my grandma's jama is supposed to look like. All right. So here anjama too is ready. Now we're going to go back on our fufu. Yeah. So yes, use those African hands and take off the lid, and you can see that our fufu is perfectly cooked. All right. Now at this stage, we just need to use our pestle and give it that last mix, mingle it the last time. This is the last round. So just mix it beautifully. Then the fufu is ready and it's time to serve. We need to serve our fufu. Now, if you have leaves, banana leaves, you can go ahead and use your banana leaves to wrap your fufu. That makes it all authentic. But I didn't have banana leaves this day. Today I didn't have banana leaves. I couldn't find them in the market. So I went ahead to use my plastic wraps. All right, just wrap your fufu, wrap them beautifully, and set them aside and get ready for eating or for digging in. So you can see I'm wrapping my fufu nicely. Always make sure, be very careful. Do not burn yourself. Do not hurt yourself with fufu. Fufu burn is as dangerous as hot oil burn. Trust me. You do not want to burn yourself with fufu corn, especially when it's very, very soft. So here our fufu is ready and it's time to serve. Ooh, the time we've all been waiting for. So now we're going on to serve our palm oil stew. Just dish out everything, serve, and enjoy. It was amazing. It was lovely. It was beautiful. Trust me, it was beautiful. I felt like I was in my grandma's kitchen. Yeah, I felt like I was in my grandma's kitchen. The only difference was that I had my fufu wrapped in the plastic wraps instead of having it wrapped in banana leaves. So here we go. We have palm oil stew. We've got country njama. That's how we call this particular vegetable, country njama. And then we have our fufu corn. So let's go ahead and serve and do justice to our fufu corn and njama. Mm, this was amazing. Hmm. I did enjoy it. I mean, I ate and I felt so satisfied. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for your love and support. Thanks so much for watching, liking, and of course sharing. Now you can see that Scotch bonnet pepper. Once you're eating your fufu and jama and you feel that the pepper is not too hot, you can go ahead and squeeze it. Just squeeze the pepper and enjoy some heat. So we have come to the end of our video, but I've got a beautiful surprise for you all. You see this right here? Fufu biscuit. We call this fufu biscuit or African biscuit, however you want to call it. In my dialect, we call it mbit. This right here is a game changer, it's diamond. And another secret about fufu is if your fufu biscuit or your mbit comes out this way, I mean, with the shape of the pot, it all comes out, then know that your fufu was perfectly cooked. Mm-hmm. Oh, I remember those good old days when we used to snack on this. I mean, we used to eat it as dessert after enjoying our fufu. Then we'll go for this because my mom used to set it aside. And if you don't finish your share of fufu, you're not having it. It is so lovely. It is so delicious. So it's time to say goodbye, but I just want to remind us to always be kind to people out there. Let's show people some love. Just a little bit of love will go a long way because people are going through a lot and you want to be that reason why somebody smiled today. I love you all. Bye.